Good to see all of you. We're in James chapter 1. And we were discussing the fact of sin and that God does not tempt us with sin. It is something that comes from within each and every one of us. And we ended up talking about verse 16, that he tells us and them to not be deceived over this thing. Don't let people fool you. Don't let people trick you into thinking negative about God. And just a quick point on that. That's what Satan loves to do. With Eve, God doesn't want you to be like him. That's how Satan operates. That's how he works. He wants to put God down in our mind. And he wants us to question the goodness and the righteousness and the justice and the holiness of God. And so we have to learn to counter that. And so that's why James says, don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. God's not doing all these negative things. These horrible things in the world are not because God is doing them. It's because sin has entered the world. Sin has made the world a very imperfect place. And sadly, even sometimes Christians get caught up in the fact that we do live in a very, very imperfect world. So verse 17. Every good thing, and every perfect gift is from above, comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. All good. Everything that's good. And remember, Jesus said it rains on the just and the unjust. So there are non-Christians even in the world that do at times benefit from the goodness of God. They have opportunity to enjoy that. You know, there are many non-Christians living in the United States, and yet they're able to enjoy the blessings of living in a country like this and the freedoms that we have. And sometimes some of these people do very well as far as our economics and other things go. And even though they may never acknowledge it, all of that comes from God. And then, of course, we as Christians, wow, the things God does for us. I mean, the physical blessings sometimes are staggering, but then we add to those the spiritual blessings, and, you know, it's just totally, totally off the chart. How really good God is to us. Now let's think. If he's that good to us while we're here on earth, how wonderful is heaven really going to be? How amazing is heaven going to be if we're enjoying such goodness and blessings here? And let's think about going all the way back to the beginning. God finished his creation, and he didn't say at the end of everything, it's good. He'd already said that a bunch of times. He said it was very good. Think about it. Flowers, trees, mountains. By the way, when Connie and I went to Alaska, I found out we don't have mountains here. What we have are hills. But I told the Alaskans they didn't have rivers. They had creeks. Because none of the rivers really I saw were anywhere comparable to the Tennessee or whatever. So I guess it's a matter of semantics sometimes with people. But, you know, up there, seeing things new for the first time, I was awestruck day after day after day after day. You know, I've always wanted to be able to go to the Alps and see the Alps and so on. All of these things God did. Beautiful world. What we see at night and everything else. All of this is part of the goodness of God. He made us a really wonderful place to come and live. All because of His goodness. So again, don't err. Don't let the devil get you thinking negatively about God. Don't let the devil put the wrong kind of attitude in your heart regarding God. Because the evil that is in this world is definitely not of His doing. That's why He sent His Son. To unwind and undo that evil in the world. Okay. In the exercise of His will, and remember I've said a lot of times James is going to introduce something, leave it, and come back to it. Well, this is one of those things that he's going to quickly introduce. He's going to make a few points, and then he's going to come back to this. So he says, He brought us forth by the word of truth, so that we should be a kind of first fruits among His creatures. Think back. Did Jesus talk about Christians and birth? Or a new birth? Yeah. By water and the Spirit. What did the Spirit do? Reveal the Word. So he's writing to early Christians and he's saying, you're like first fruits. Now, what do first fruits generally tell us? There's more to come. So these early Jews are the first fruits. They're the people that have been introduced to and the first ones to have opportunity to enjoy the gospel.
The first fruits of every harvest would be given to the Lord.
Right.
And it was a promise of greater harvests to come if they gave the first fruits.
Good point. So there, these first fruits, they're good. Been hearing on the news recently. I'm getting tired of watching the news, but I've been hearing on the news recently that there's a huge rise in anti-Semitism all across Europe. All across. And Connie and I were talking about it yesterday, and I made the point. I said, have these people all forgotten what nationality Jesus was? You know, we're going to be anti-Semitic, but who was Semitic? Not only him, but all of the apostles. There was never a Gentile apostle. And so, such an attitude is not the attitude God wants people to have. Now, obviously, we ain't got a long time for discussion of Romans 9, 10, and 11, but the point that might be well made here is, has God just totally written the Jews off? They don't stand a chance of ever having an opportunity of coming to Christ? No.
They had the first opportunity.
They had the first opportunity. They still have an opportunity today. And just a little point. If a Jew becomes a Christian, it's generally going to cost them big time. I mean big time. Because a lot of Jews live in a community. And if you reject Judaism as they view it for Christianity, you're generally expelled from the family and the community. Same thing happens to a Muslim, by the way. Same thing. So some of these people today who are becoming Christians are paying tremendous prices for it. But James says, you're the first fruits, because you've gotten to hear the word of truth. Okay, then he shifts gears. This you know, my beloved brethren, but everyone must be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Listen. Hear. Now, does this tie in with the word? Possibly. It definitely will in a few minutes. But since we're going to be dealing in the next verse with anger, when we're dealing with other people, listen more. Get the information before you start answering. And definitely do so before you start getting angry. Because verse 20 tells us, for the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. Now I mentioned James is kind of like Proverbs in the New Testament. And if you have a really good reference Bible, you're going to see reference after reference after reference back to Proverbs. And Proverbs deals a whole lot with anger. And in Ecclesiastes, and I realize that's not Proverbs, but it's still Solomon, he makes the statement, anger rests in the heart of fools. That's pretty serious statement there. Anger rests in the heart of fools. We don't want anger within us. And wow, do we live in an angry world, an angry country. People are just angry. As young people would say, folks need to chill out a little bit. They really do. They need to chill out some. We need to learn to deal with this anger and get rid of it, because it's never going to accomplish the righteousness of God. Now people say, okay, Jesus got angry. Yeah, he did. He had some righteous anger. Now let's put it in context. John says Jesus cleansed the temple the first time he went to Jerusalem for the Passover. Matthew, Mark, and Luke tell us he did it the third time. Now, do we have a contradiction? Or did Jesus do it twice? Okay. The first time, John's account is fairly mild. When he comes back that second time, it's kind of like, all right, people, we did not get the message. This thing did not sink in, so let's see if I can make this a little more poignant and get my point across just a little bit better. So yes, he is definitely angry, but realize this is God in the flesh. He has a right to be angry at things you and I don't have a right to be angry at. And so we need to learn to really control our anger. And so as he talks about that, he says, therefore, always in light of or whatever, putting aside all filthiness, and this would be any kind of moral defilement, and all that remains of wickedness, in humility, and here we go back to the word again, receive the word implanted, which is able to save your souls. So rather than harboring anger and all of these filthy words that we might want to say and express to someone, we need to be filling ourselves with the Word of God. That's what we need to be filling with. That's what's important.
Billy,
Yes,
I've always thought anger is a perfect growth opportunity. We know ourselves from our personal experiences that we are going to become angry. This, what's being spoken of here is continuing to harbor it and letting it grow. Or in fact, scriptures say to be ye angry and sin not. So we should practice, when we suddenly become angry, controlling ourselves to the point that we do not sin.
there you go. There you go. Control that anger. And anger puts us out of control. When we get angry, we lose control. We may say things we never intend to say. We may do things we never intend to do. And yes, we may apologize. Somebody may forgive us. But, I've had accidents in my life, and I can still show you where some of those accidents were, because they left scars. And we can still leave scars. And so, care. We need to take care. We need to replace the bad, sinful, wrong attitudes that might be within us. As we take them out, we replace them with the Word of God. Because here, and we will read in 1 Peter later on, that the Word of God does save us. It purifies our souls. It tells us what we need to know to do to please God and to be acceptable in His sight. Okay, so we're concentrating on the Word now. No more anger. Think about the Word. But then he goes a step further in 22. But prove yourselves doers of the Word, and not merely hearers who delude themselves. Not enough to hear the Bible, not enough to study the Bible. We've got to do what the Bible says to do. Now, there are people that get uncomfortable with descriptive terms for the Bible, but it could be looked at as a guidebook. It could be looked at as a roadmap. It could be looked at as an instruction manual, if that's what you want to call it. Ever how that imagery works in your mind, let it work there. But God didn't give us the Bible as an exercise in what He could do. We already had that. That's what the earth and all creation is about. That's what God can do. The Bible was given to us to tell us what we can do to please God, to make Him happy. And so we can't just hear it. Well, man, that sounds nice. Boy, God sure was kind to give us that, and then we never act on it. We've got to move on what the Bible tells us to do. If it tells us go right, go right. If it tells us go left, go left. And, probably many of you now use some kind of thing in your car where you get instructions. Well, if the instructions say turn right and you decide to turn left, are you being really smart when you've got an instruction on telling you how to get there? Unless you have a problem Connie and I have.
It just yells at you.
What?
It just yells at you.
Well,
Get back on the road.
when we went to her 50th high school reunion, we were a half a mile from where we were supposed to be. We could actually see the building. But the problem was the road we started up, which the guy told us to take, suddenly didn't become a real road anymore. It was a logging road. Now, it was the closest path to where we needed to be. But I wasn't going to take her car up that road, because her car sure wouldn't have looked the same when we came back down that thing. The Bible's not like that. The Bible's not going to send us the wrong way. It's not going to send us on the wrong path. It's not going to give us the wrong direction. Every time it's going to tell us exactly what we need to do. And if we're smart, we're going to listen. And then we're going to do it. We're going to do it. 23. If anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he's like a man who looks at his natural face in a mirror. For once he has looked at himself and gone away, he has immediately forgotten what kind of person he was. Get up in the morning, we get our hair all done, go about our day, come back in at the end of the day, and generally speaking, our hair is not going to look exactly like it did when we left the house that morning, especially if the wind's been blowing. But we kind of forget things like that. Well, Joni, Johnny, all of you who were teachers, were you taught the adage, I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I know? It may not be the exact word. Been a long time since I took my
I put more words in it now, but same idea.
Okay, same idea. Okay, that's true about the Bible. You hear it, you're going to forget it. You sort of kind of study it, and yeah, you remember a little bit of it, but when you do it, it works for you. You like that? The Bible works. It really does. It works. And so James says, don't just listen and walk away. Learn. Put it to use. And then he says something that makes, and I'm going to put it this way, some of our brethren very uncomfortable. Don't know why, because it's in Scripture, but it does. But one who looks at the perfect law, the law of liberty, and abides by it, not having become a forgetful hearer, but an effectual doer, this man will be blessed in what he does. Now, there's some people that are really uncomfortable with folks calling the gospel the law of liberty. Basically defined, what is a law? Basically. Huh? A rule to live by. Okay, is the New Testament that? By all means. It's not a rule like the Old Testament. I mean, we don't have 600 and something, 623 specific laws. You will not, spelled out like the law of Moses does. Thank goodness. But it's still a rule to live by. And James says it's the perfect one. Okay, if the gospel, the law, the New Testament is the perfect law to live by, then by all means, we don't need something else. We sure don't need anything different, because you can't get any better than perfect. So we want to go for the perfect one, not something less than that. Could that be why Paul, when he writes probably his first book, the Galatian letter, he tells them, but though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel to you than what you've heard, let him be cursed. Why? Because the divinely inspired gospel can't be improved. Cannot be improved. Don't need anything more. Sure don't need anything less. And then, James just throws in another little thought. And let's realize chapter divisions are humanly made, and sometimes they're really helpful and good, and sometimes, well, we kind of got in the middle of a topic here. And this is one time we kind of break up a topic, but we'll try not to do so bad tonight. Yeah.
Before you go on, you kind of led into it and then went away from it.
Uh-oh.
The law is a law of liberty in that as opposed to that old law, the old law brought death. There was no way of keeping it. And when it pointed out sin and you did not keep it, there was no forgiveness. And so it brought death.
Yes.
Separation from God, no matter what we did.
He will
The
bring
new
us.
law
Yes.
is a law of liberty because we are free from death.
Yes.
Because of the blood of Jesus. It atones for us. And that's why it is the law of liberty, whether Reverend might call it that or not.
Right.
That's what it is and why it is what it is.
And the idea of liberty, Paul is going to write about and say, don't abuse that. You don't, it's not a license to go out here and do your own thing by any stretch. Don't abuse the liberty God has given.
This was written to the Jews.
Right? The Jews that had those 600 plus laws.
Right. And he was telling them, this is a law of liberty for you. You are being unbound from a law you could not serve. You could not do everything. And that's why, he's pointing to the Jews. This is a law of liberty.
The Jews should have gone into their happy dance reading this. Really? I mean, you mean I don't have to check off 620 something, 613 laws every day? Man, let's
made it 613 or 615 because there's two of them that they maybe doubled it.
okay.
I was reading that the other night. I had never heard that before, but when I was reading it, I was read over about the 613.
Anyway, that's a whole bunch. That's a whole bunch to have to know. Okay, folks, so here, Jews, they're free from that, okay? Why is it a law of liberty for Christians? Actually, for the same reason it is Jews. The forgiveness. There's the factor. You have been freed. Read Romans 6. You no longer serve sin. You're no longer enslaved. You are freed. Wow. The Jew kept anticipating it until the coming of Christ. We don't have to anticipate it. It's available. It's there for us. So it is a perfect way to go. So let's not forget it. Let's do it. So we live that life of freedom. Okay, if anyone thinks himself to be religious, and yet does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's religion is worthless. We've already hinted at the tongue with anger. Now he's hinting at the tongue. Well, not hinting, he's being rather poignant about what he says here. We've got to learn to grow the tongue. Now he's going to come back to this again in chapter 3. He's going to tell us we have a tough time doing that as human beings. And we really do. The Cherokee, we could learn a lot from him if we'd been smart, but we weren't. So there we go. The Cherokee said that the Great Spirit locked the tongue in a cage. And the cage should be kept shut much of the time. Lincoln made the statement, he said, I'd rather keep my mouth shut and then take me a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. Now, I will tell you unequivocally, there are a lot of people in our world today that are removing all doubt. They really are. But some of the things that we see today with the tongue, I never thought I would live to see. Leaders of our country using filthy language. These are people we're supposed to look up to, and we're supposed to get our kids to look up to these people. And then to hear kindergarten kids using filthy language, and their parents laughing about it like it's cute. Pardon?
It's sad.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. And not just filthy language. The political thing. No, I'm not getting into everything. I just want to hit one point on the political thing. People in both parties looking at people in the other party and saying, I hate them. What? You're saying you hate your fellow Americans? Man, give me a break. We've got to learn to control what we say. We've got to be really, really careful. In Proverbs, Solomon compares the tongue to a sword that can pierce. And it really, really can. So we've got to be really, really careful. I'm going to tell you a story. I probably told you this in the past, but I think it really fits here. Parents, we need to be real careful about what we say to our kids and how we say it to our kids. Especially when they're younger, because they think we can't make any mistakes, unless they're poor, deluded minds. But anyway, they think we can't make any mistakes. But what parents say about their children can have profound effects. My second year of teaching high school, when we had new students come in, they and their parents, we had an orientation day. So they came in and met the faculty. And this one young man, I'd already met him because he was playing football for me. And his mama walks up to me, looks me dead in the eye and says, my son's stupid, he's going to fail your course. Well, folks, if you don't know me, I have enough Irish in me that it rose in a hurry. And I determined within myself, Mama, I'm going to show you something. Now, I will admit, the first test, Miss Margie, I'm glad you were a principal and knew this. The first test I gave him was different from everyone else's. Looked the same. I spent an hour on his test alone. Every question was the same length as every other question. Well, he made a C on it. He came, the little guy came up to me after class and he said, Coach, you made a mistake grading my paper. I don't make grades like this. And I looked at him and I said, I don't make mistakes grading papers. That's the grade you make. By the end of that semester, he had a solid B in my class, taking the same test everybody else was taking, and he had A's and B's in every course in that school. After what the rest of the story, at the end of the school year, I made Mama apologize to him, not to me. Parents can do so much damage because sometimes kids live down to parental expectations as much as they live up to parental expectations. And so be careful.
Yes, and I think that, I'm not going to.
Okay,
I think that is also one of the reasons that we lost so many people in the church, our young people, for so many years, because that was what preachers did was talk down to them. You were taught that if you made it, it was going to be the punishment. Everything you could do, you were unworthy, and you would not make it probably. Half of that statement is absolutely true. It's the second half that is not. And we lost generations of people because of preachers.
Yep, I know this is right.
And we need to be very careful about that. Excuse me.
I had an argument with a member here. Argument. It was testy. Billy, you need to get in the pulpit every Sunday and blast them out of the pews. And I looked at him and I said, you may need to be blasted out of the pews every Sunday. But the rest of the congregation doesn't, and no, I am not going to. And for some reason, he didn't like me very much after that. And you know what, I'll be honest, I didn't really care, because he was wrong. But John is correct, and a lot of it was preachers. Not just young people, though. I mean, brethren in every age bracket were discouraged because of things that were said. You're only going to get in there. John and I have talked about ping-pong ball religion. That's the only way I can describe it. In grace, out of grace, in grace, out of grace. And you just hope you die while you're in grace and not out of grace. You know, please don't let me die before I have a chance to say another prayer. Man, you talk about turning people paranoid. But the Buffalo Springfield had no idea what paranoia was in the 60s. But that's what we did to people. And then you would go up to folks in the church, well, if you were to die, are you going to go to heaven? Well, maybe. I might get in there. And, you know, I don't like that answer, but because of what people were hearing, that's the answer they were giving.
And if you ever thought about having any other answer than that, then the scripture was, I'm just lost my train right in the middle of that. I just lost that train, it just went away. Oh, Jesus is saying, take heed lest you fall.
You're going to come crashing down. First,
I mean, anytime you ever thought that it was going to be, that maybe you were doing okay,
well,
that would be different.
hold on a minute. On John's point, we're a little bit old time, but he's opened the can of worms. I've got to step in here. That verse is followed not by another verse of condemnation, but a verse of, there's no temptation that is taken you, but such as is common to man. God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted above that which you can bear. But no, we're going to grab the one you're going to fall and forget the one that's tied to it.
All I was point out was that during the period y'all were talking about, which I remember very well, you could not get a member of the church to tell you emphatically direct answer if they were saved or not.
Well,
They would not.
no, they didn't. They didn't.
And yours preaching, you know, the direction, and not necessarily change their mind.
No.
We're scarred.
I'm telling you.
If I ask for a show of hands tonight, I wonder how many.
There are times when I feel very much like I know, but there are times that still is being taught in my heart.
Well, I won't get through 27, but we won't. Anything else tonight? Some good discussion there. Chris, some prayer, please.
Dear Father, thank you for this opportunity to come tonight, study your word, be together. Father, we pray for all those that are sick and mentioned. Pray for healing.